All right, for lesson 4, we are going to solve inequalities by adding or subtracting. So first, let's start with the addition and subtraction property. So when you add or subtract the same number from each side of an inequality, the inequality remains true. That works the same with an equation. So you can add 5 to both sides and you still don't mess up the equation. Inequalities are the same. Okay, so let's go ahead and try some of these. All right, example 1, letter A, we're told to solve each inequality. So you do these exactly the same way as if you were just solving for a variable. We have p plus 7 is less than 9, so we need to get p by itself. So since it's plus 7, we will minus 7 from both sides. So p is less than 2. That's it. That's your answer. So for letter B, we need to subtract this 8. So we can get b alone. So now b is alone on the right side. We still have the same inequality sign. We have negative 14 minus 8, so we get negative 22. Letter C, we have 3 is greater than or equal to negative 2 plus y. So we need to get rid of that negative 2, so we must add 2 to both sides. 3 plus 2 is 5. Keep the inequality sign, the 2's are gone, and we're left with y. Same idea for D. So we have r minus 5 is less than or equal to 2. So add 5 to both sides. That's gone, so r is less than or equal to 7. Letter E, j minus 8 is less than or equal to negative 12. So add 8 to both sides. So j is less than or equal to negative 4. Negative 12 plus 8. Number 22, we have letter F. We have 22 is greater than w minus negative 16. So since it's minus, we need to add negative 16. So add negative 16. 22 plus negative 16 is 6. Keep your sign and you have a W. Okay, we have 2 more like this. So letter G, 1 plus y is less than or equal to 2.4. So we need to subtract that 1 to get y by itself. So y is less than or equal to 1.4. 2.4 minus 1.4, 2.4 minus 1 is 1.4. And the same thing for h. So we have f plus negative 4. So to get rid of that negative 4, we need to minus negative 4. Do it on both sides. So that's f. That's gone. Greater than or equal to 1.4 plus a negative, minus a negative is just a plus. So this becomes 5.4. And that's it for those. So you solve these exactly the same way you would as if there was an equal sign there. Okay, example 2, we're going to do the same idea, except then graph our answers. For these ones, we need to solve it and then graph it. So solve it the exact same way. It's n plus 4, so we need to minus 4 from both sides. So we end up with n is less than 5. So then make your graph. Make a number line, put your 5 in the middle, so then surround it by 4 and 6. We know we have an open circle because there's no equal to, and n is less than that, so we want everything down here. Same idea for B. So we have p plus negative 5, so we're going to minus a negative 5 from both sides. So that means p is greater than negative 3 minus negative 5, so negative 3 plus 5, so we get a 2. So draw your number line. We put a 2 on there, surround it with a 1 and a 3. We have an open circle because it's not an equal to, And P is greater than 2, so we want all the numbers greater than 2, so we go this way. Same idea for C, so it's x minus 8, so we need to plus 8. Negative 13 plus 8 is negative 5, greater than or equal to x. Make your number line. Put your negative 5 on there. Remember, to the left is a smaller number, so that's negative 6. Negative 4 would go on the right. Be careful when you're making your number line for your negatives. We have a closed circle because we've got that equal to. And then this one's written backwards, so be careful which way you shade. You can't just follow the arrow. Negative 5 is greater than x. So that means that x is less than negative 5. So it's all of these numbers over here. Everything smaller than negative 5. Okay, one more. We have a minus negative 6, so let's add negative 6. Add negative 6. 33 plus negative 6 is 27. That's less than or equal to m. It cancels. So make your number line. 27 goes in the middle, so then we have a 28 over here and a 26 over here. We have a closed circle because we've got the equal to. And this says that 27 is less than m. So that means m is greater than 27. So we want to shade everything greater than 27. Okay, so that's it for just solving and graphing. Next we're going to write some inequalities and then solve them. And then we'll be finished. Okay. So the last thing we have to do is a couple of word problems. So for letter A, Chris is saving money for a ski trip. He has $62.50, but his goal is to save at least $100. What is the least amount Chris needs to save to reach his goal? So he wants the amount that he saves to be at least $100. Whoops. So if 100 is over here, the amount that he saves needs to be at least that. So that means it needs to be more than that or equal to that. If you look back at that chart we did last class, at least would be in the greater than or equal to spot. So then on the left side, we need to put the amount that he has saved. Well, he already has $62.50, plus he is going to save some more, so plus x. So $62.50 plus however much more he saves needs to be at least 100. So what's on the left needs to be greater than or equal to 100, because the smallest it can be is 100. So we need to figure out what x is to figure out how much more he needs to save. So we can subtract the $62.50 from both sides. So that means x, that's gone, x is greater than or equal to 37.5. So that means he needs to save $37.50 or more. Okay, because x is greater than or equal to that, so it can be that or anything more than that. So that would be your answer. For inequalities, you need to kind of describe your answer because it's not just 37.50. It's 37.50 or anything greater than that, since x is greater than or equal to 37.50. All right, so same idea for B. A certain minivan has a maximum carrying capacity of 1,100 pounds. If the luggage weighs 120 pounds, what is the maximum weight allowable for passengers? So we already have 120 pounds in the van, plus we are adding weight for people. And that cannot exceed 1,100, so it needs to be less than or equal to that 1,100. It can be 1,100, but it can't be anything more than that. Okay, so now we need to figure out how much the people can weigh. We already have 120 pounds of passenger. Okay, we've got the 120 pounds of luggage, and then we are adding on some amount of weight for the passengers, and that has to be less than or equal to that 1,100. So we can subtract this 120 So that means x is less than or equal to 980. So that means the total weight of the passengers, so weight of the passengers can be 980 pounds, lbs, or less. Because x can be less than or equal to that 980. It can't be more than that, though. And it can't just be 980. It could be 900, as long as it is something less than or equal to 980. Okay, now that you've finished your notes, use those, please, to complete the assignment out of the book. The sub has it on their sheet, and it's also written in the eBackpack folder. Once you complete that, you need to either turn it into the folder or turn your sheet of paper into the sub. If you do not finish before class is over, then that is your homework, and it will be due next class.